Welcome to East Coast DNA. I'm Andrew, and this is my brother.
Darcy Walsh.
We're here to keep you up to date on East Coast musicians and music news. We have information coming up with the Pictou Lobster Carnival. We're going to have a guest on today, Glenn Jackson. That'll be coming up after our break. And as well, news. Not many live streams this week with the Super Bowl. No one really wanted to compete with that on Sunday.
Yeah, it shut most plans down for most people, I would say. Unless you're the big sports fan, and that was your plan, I suppose.
Yeah.
To be fair. And the halftime show was good for most music fans, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a good one, eh? I saw people complaining, like, I don't think Dre was actually mixing at that board. I'm like, of course he wasn't mixing at the board. It was a cardboard house.
Big, phenomenal spectacle, which is exactly what it was supposed to be. So
yeah, and people never seem to clue in. They're like, I don't think he's actually playing guitar. I'm like, no, he wasn't. It's the Super Bowl halftime show.
Right, exactly. And we've seen some news there, a lot of things reopening too, which is the trends that we were hoping to see like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So that's nice. One of those things I saw was the Scotiabank Center reopening, which there was a lot of shows that were announced that people knew were coming up, and we had mentioned a couple too. But now with the restrictions being lifted a little bit, there's was like an official announcement that these shows are a go. And there's a lot of hockey games and basketball stuff going on as well. But
yeah.
Blue Rodeo's coming in March, which is a big deal. And Jen Grant's actually opening for Blue Rodeo. She's from Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
Judas Priest coming on April 7th. So all the metalheads are probably pretty excited about that.
That'd be a good show.
Quite a few people have tickets. And they're bringing Queensryche with them too, which I mentioned before. The opening acts are usually the bigger pull for me buying a ticket for some of these high ticket items.
Yeah, exactly.
James Taylor's coming, Christopher Avril Lavigne, which we had mentioned before.
ZZ Top.
Yeah, that would be a good show.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to see them before and did not, but I would enjoy a show of ZZ Top for sure. I'm sure that's quite the spectacle itself.
I think Jan Arden would be good too, eh?
Yeah, Jan Arden usually is a pretty good show. She's good at working a crowd, even in those bigger stadium type areas.
Yeah, it makes it feel personable.
Yeah, she's got a good sense of humor to keep everyone going. And the Jubilee actually announced their full lineup just after our last recording. So we kind of knew it was happening. The timing wasn't great. We didn't know when they were doing their announcement, and we had already had our plans on the go. So it was unfortunate timing, especially where I'm right here in Glasgow.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have jumped on that a little better, but they do have the full lineup out there. It's looking really good. We had talked like early on, because when we first started the podcast, we'd mentioned about like Sloan and Joel Plaskett, Glass Tiger, Tom Cochran.
Yeah.
One of the bands we had talked about on the last episode of our podcast was Not Like Yesterday. So one thing I did want to say is when I was going through the band members, I said that I didn't really know who that Nathan Mann was. And I actually did meet him at the Monarch last year when Altered by Mum was playing.
Okay.
So I actually did have a conversation with him. It was the only time we've ever had an interaction, I believe. But yeah, he was somebody that I knew. And they are on the lineup as well for the Jubilee. So it's nice to see some hometown people on the bill.
Yeah.
Judd Gunning is in the extended lineup announcement. So it's Dave Gunning's son.
Oh, his son.
Yeah, I believe.
I guess we're just getting older. I'm like, Dave Gunning's son would be old enough.
You might as well just pretend it's Dave Gunning up there, but he is actually a separate person.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was kind of cool to see. Barn Bria, I don't know, is a band that listed in there. And anyone that wants more details, the Jubilee.ca has bios and ticket information for everyone, and volunteer signups as well. Hillsburn is one of the names on the lineup that I was quite excited. I was first introduced to them actually here in Glasgow playing at the Jubilee years ago. They played with Port Cities. So that'd be cool to see. Rennie Smith and Julie Black are both playing, and T. Thompson. So they have a really good, diverse
Yeah, it's well rounded.
lineup this year. Good representation from a lot of different areas. I mean, you and I probably more so the Sloan Joel Plaskett thing because we're 90s kids and
Yeah.
we're lean towards the rock more so. So those are definitely the big pulls for us, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And Rock the Hub, I don't think they've done their full lineup announcement yet. So
No, they announced a few.
yeah,
But
we'll
wait
have
till the
to
full lineup comes up.
circle back.
Yeah.
Tara Spencer was in the news again too. She announced she's going to be at the Vancouver Island Music Fest this year. I'm thinking that Tara needs to have her own separate fan cast where
This is
somebody
the
just talks
East
about
Coast,
Tara once
not
a
the
week.
West Coast. So
yeah, exactly. She gets excluded for that one because she's too far away.
Yeah, we won't promote that one, Tara. No.
She's out of her jurisdiction.
Yeah. We'll still follow.
And a cool story too that I saw there, Andre Pettipas and his brother Travis, who is one of the Giants, they recorded some singles at home with everyone having lockdowns through the pandemic.
Yep.
People seem to find lots of time for home projects, and they recorded a couple songs that they're releasing as singles. They had some cool artwork done up for them, and I just saw some of that stuff out on social media. So that's something for the Andre Pettipas fans to look for.
Yeah.
And he's actually, they had some downtime there because of the bad C word.
Yeah.
But they're back playing again at the Commune this weekend, actually. So
the good C word.
Yes, exactly. Which that was something that I was just talking about as we're getting ready to record, and we'll get into some of the upcoming shows towards the end of this. But they were just making announcements as I was getting ready to meet with you today. So
yeah,
we'll look at a couple of those here in a little bit. And another thing I noticed, you and I had conversations around the podcast about how we wanted to handle coverage for the area for things like Music PEI, because that's just coming up in a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
In March. And the ECMAs are not too far behind that. But both of them have announced that they've made decisions to do a hybrid model this year. With the last couple of years of COVID, they both had to do some of their festival stuff online. And even though we're getting to the point now that some things are reopening and they're able to do some stuff in person again, they've decided that some of the stuff works online.
Yeah.
And so they're going to keep some of those features going forward. And that's exciting for me because I'm not going to be able to make it to every event, especially when things like this come up. It's not feasible for me to go to Charlottetown, and especially with the COVID restrictions, you don't know if you have to isolate here.
And it's good they're doing the hybrid model too. That way they will get a bigger audience by utilizing online.
Yes, because if it were downtown to Glasgow, I absolutely would like to be one of those 50 people at a show.
Yeah.
But I do find too that the award shows, maybe it's a personal thing because I grew up with television where you tuned in on cable TV to watch an award show at a certain time on a certain night, and
not just like check it in the morning on the toilet on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So it is nice to have that option, and you and I will talk more about this in the future. But I was thinking maybe we'll do a little watch party or something for the Music PEI one's up first, so maybe we'll see if we could do something with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was kind of exciting for me. I mean, it's disappointing in one way because I do miss those big shows. I was just looking at a picture behind me here the other day from a show you and I were at Kiss in the Commons.
Oh my
was
God.
that 50,000 people we were sitting with or something?
2009 or
something like that. It's insane to think that it ever even happened.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do kind of miss that, but I do like that. While I personally don't feel comfortable being out in large groups yet, and where not everything's reopened yet, I do like the ability to be able to sit in my living room and catch these shows and pretend that I'm jaunting out all over the Maritimes.
Yeah, you just can't cheer as much when you're sitting in your living room.
Yes, exactly. Another thing that was announced in between, and I think it was just shortly after we recorded too, was that Nova Scotia Music Week they made an announcement. They will be having their festival in November again
Yes.
this year, and that it's going to be held in Sydney. So it's a location change. It's been several years that they've been going back to Truro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's been a little bit of renewed focus on Cape Breton this year. I've noticed that with a few other things as well. So hopefully we keep that momentum all through the year, and it's a big celebration in November.
Yeah.
We've seen all these new things coming out, like building companion playlists to go with this show, and having new releases, featured singles on the show and everything. We knew we could do some, but there's so much available that there's no way that's not going to be just a crazy party when everyone gets together, because there's so many good bands out there.
Hopefully by November.
Yeah, maybe not a respectable, safe party.
Yes.
That's what it'll be.
Yeah.
And I'll be excited to go anyway. I did seek to. I've been waiting for Cluttered's vinyl release to arrive in the mail. There was some shipping delays.
Yeah.
But I did see that Maddie posted on social media the other day that they arrived in Halifax. So I assume mine's en route and should be at the mail any day now.
It's like the whole vinyl industry, there's the delay on things.
Adele used up all the vinyl, plus we had all the transportation issues and supplies stuff everywhere else. So I mean, it was the perfect storm of delay, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But that's one that's well worth the wait. Plus we've both been listening to it on our phones and computers for several months now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it'd be nice to have that physical copy in your hand, though.
Yes, it'll be like listening to it for the first time again when I crack that vinyl and drop the needle on it. So yeah, there was also ECMA announced the nominees for this year's award show, which is going to be held in Fredericton in May. So part of their announcement with the nominees, they have the Fans Choice Awards as well.
Yep.
There's 2 different categories, and the voting's open now. You can actually vote daily. So we'll put a link in our show notes, and if anyone wants to vote, just keep in mind that you can go back again the next day and vote again. So it's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah.
The Town Heroes led the nominations with 5, but tied with Hillsburg, who also had 5 nominations. So
and that's probably due to winning people over the bingo.
Yes. The Town Heroes bingo is awesome, and they have one of those coming up the 26th, I believe. It'll be the weekend following this airing.
Yeah.
So anyone that's listening to this now, it's this coming weekend. And you can get a bingo card by writing the boys through social media, and you can tune into their live stream, tell some jokes, there's some witty banter, there's a few songs, and there's bingo with prizes. So you really can't beat it. And they don't make you pay anything for it. You can send them a donation. You can buy some of their stuff online.
Yeah.
Lots of ways to support them, but it's a great little thing they're doing. It's a lot of fun. Done it with my girlfriend, and I've done it with my daughter, and they both enjoyed it.
He hasn't done it with me, but I won't be offended.
Well, what are you doing this Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next Bandcamp Friday is coming up too before we have another episode out. So March 4th. So it looks like they're doing the first Fridays of every month.
Yeah.
And
so start marking things on your wish list so you can get that list built up and start supporting. So we mentioned it last time, but Bandcamp Friday means all proceeds from the purchase goes directly to the band or the artist instead of them taking their fees. So they kind of waive their fees for a day, once a month, and it's first Friday of every month for the next few months, and that's coming up in March 4th.
Yes, so you got some upcoming releases that you're adding to your playlist, maybe?
Yeah, Pillow Fight Half Moon comes out on February 25th. We've mentioned Pillow Fight a couple times and played some of their music, and they seem like they're keeping the momentum going. Carry the Lost. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we're a little biased because we met them early on in them releasing stuff, but it's been really easy to be biased because it's been all quality so far, and they're keeping us excited.
Yeah, nice people, crap music, still have crap music. They're nice people with nice music, so.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Like I Have Music, nice guy.
Yeah.
Crap music. So Carry the Lost has an album coming out March 1st. It's a 10-track album plus a bonus track. And it is arriving on all platforms. It's called Battle Tested, coming out February 18th.
And they're a band that's been around for a few years. I saw them years ago at the Commune at their previous location.
Yeah.
And I think they may have actually played when Aqua Lounge was open here in Glasgow. They may have played the show there too.
That was a while ago.
So it was exciting to see that they announced that they have a recording coming out. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on that.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. It's called Battle Tested. Avril Lavigne's new album comes out. So if you're going to that concert coming up soon, her album comes out Friday of this week. So Friday, February 25th. Same day as the Pillow Fight single.
Yes, I am definitely going to give them both a listen. I'm probably buying the Pillow Fight one right off the bat.
Yeah.
And the Avril Lavigne, I am really excited to hear what it sounds like, but I'm reserving judgment for when I actually listen to the thing. It's been a while, and there's a lot of different musical tastes mixed into one album. It could be phenomenal, it could be questionable. So yeah, I'm going to reserve the right to listen.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. So recently, though, we had other songs come out. Top Talk, who we talked about on our second episode, I believe. Screen So Bright and Deep Space EP came out on February 7th.
Released another couple songs right after I said in one of our episodes that his second one coming out without me knowing meant that he needs to keep up the communication a little better.
Yeah, Gavin was part of our inspiration for this whole thing. Yeah.
Instead of reaching out and giving me a phone call, he released 2 more songs on the same day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I would like to think that he's listening and messing with me. Chances are he didn't hear me say that on our episode.
I vote that he's messing with you. And he'll confirm if he's listening, because he will let us know once he hears this conversation.
Send us a message and let us know, Gavin. Are you messing with us?
Yeah, mention it in the Discord.
Not listening to him.
Because he is in our Discord.
He is in our Discord.
Yeah, link in the show notes. The Summer Rabbit has an EP coming out called Harvest Repeater. That comes out February 15th, or came out February 15th.
Yeah, I think I sent you the link the morning that came out. That's a pretty good album. I'm planning on going back to those guys. I saw some of their promos on social media stuff, and I'm interested to hear what else they have.
Yeah. And Carlton Stone has a new single called Ice Age, and Carlton be known from Port Cities.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is coming from a larger compilation or something, or if he's just doing a single on its own. But yeah, I noticed that in the Music Nova Scotia New Music Fridays, and included that in our companion playlist for the day too.
Yeah, so you guys can check out the companion playlist. We have one on Spotify and one on YouTube. The YouTube one will be linked at the end of our YouTube video, and the Spotify one, as well as YouTube, will be in our show notes for the podcast. So you can check those out as well. And Kyle Clayton has a music video out for Steppin'.
He actually did a performance with Wants at the Music Week. I don't think you didn't go to any of the performances.
No, I couldn't make any of that, no.
Yeah, just because that was one of the later evening ones. It was one of the few that I made it to.
Yeah.
I briefly met him in passing, but I'm seeing his name around a lot, and saw a new music video came out, so I threw that in our playlist there as well today.
Yeah, and something we mentioned previously as well, We Should Have Been Plumbers. They released the song Sad and Lonely, and I know we've mentioned it, but they're a lockdown project from Jillian Camo that plays with music, and Kim Carson from Like a Motorcycle. And Sad and Lonely is their first single off the upcoming self-titled EP. And a little blurb from them is, Sad and Lonely is that feeling of looking out your window during your lowest moment, only to see that everyone else is feeling exactly the same way. The song is intended to be a sort of pandemic swan song, the moment you give into and even make peace with the world around you, and all is loneliness. So there, we're going to play that song at the end of the episode today, so stick around for that. And the song we're going to play for this break is Stonehouse, Money Well Spent. It came out on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and they have a video out for that as well.
That just came out this morning as of this recording.
Yes. So, We'll be back in a few minutes, and this is Stonehouse, Money Well Spent. Welcome back. That again was Stonehouse, Money Well Spent. I found the songs we heard so far off this album more country than they were. They started off like really rock, and they're kind of softening up to country or sounds this time, I find.
Their Holy Water song, they got a lot of traction off that. I think maybe it's kind of help guide them in where they're going with their music. I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting that upon them.
And I
But
really like the change. I like when people have albums that don't sound exactly like their last album. You hear people
yeah,
complain about it,
exactly.
but I would rather hear 10 albums that sound different than hear ACD. I mean, you hear the same album every time an
Yes,
album comes out.
yes, exactly. When you become a stereotype genre, it's for a reason.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
it becomes too cookie cutter after a while. So it is nice to hear a little bit of diversity.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully this one does just as well for them. They had the Honeybee out just not too long ago, and you had mentioned just in the last episode too that this video where it's at the River Run
River Run Cafe.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said what was it? I cut you off with a joke, but it's a charity.
The Riverview Adult Residential Center. The Riverton Adult Residential
Oh,
Center
okay.
is run by them. It's like a
Oh,
charitable
okay.
thing
So
through them. Yeah.
perfect. Well, there you go. So yeah, that video is included in our playlist as well for anyone to check out their live performance from the River and Cafe.
Yes. And if you check out the band members, Pat Walsh is no relation. This isn't just a family thing.
It's not a shameless plug. They just happen to be from
they
a
just happen
local
to make
area,
good music. Yeah.
and they make good music.
Upcoming shows. We have some shows coming up. February 25th, Voodoo Sometimes is playing at the Capitol Theater in Moncton. And what else do we have coming up that weekend?
February 26th. I'd mentioned that was. Did I say that was the night of the Town Heroes Bingo? Because I also have Michael Ryan playing at the Rustic Crest in Tantallon, which is near where he would be anyway. So
probably doing bingo.
You could actually go catch. Yeah, you could actually go catch a free show at the Rustic Crest, watch Michael do some songs, and then run home and fire up your online stream to do an online bingo.
That's what most people usually do. You go to a rock show and then you run home and play bingo. I find that's really what we do.
That's what I normally do.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
round out
the
the night
that we saw Guns N' Roses in Halifax, and you knew someone that was going to get us into an after show.
Yeah.
And then we decided to play bingo instead.
Yeah. Or the liquor inspector shut down the after show because it was the Trailer Park Boys with Bubbles and
yeah,
Skid Row. Sebastian Bach from Skid Row with Axl Rose and Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, liquor inspector shut that one down. Yeah.
Yeah. What a time that would have been. But the bingo with the Town Heroes is just as good as partying with Guns N' Roses.
I imagine it's probably the same powders.
You know what? They're the next night. They're the 27th. That's
okay. What it is. Perfect.
So also on the 26th, then Keeper E is performing with Wants at the Inverness County Center for the Arts.
Yeah.
And they actually did a song together that I threw in our playlist there too. That was the music video was directed by our friend Gavin of Top Talk.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be a cool show to see. And Frail, who's fronted by Jeff from the previous podcast I worked on, they're doing a performance with Andrew Spicer at the Commune on the 26th as well.
If you haven't seen them, Frail's a good, tight, heavy band. I know they practice a lot because we shared a drummer, so I knew their schedule. And yes. I've played shows with both these people on the same night. And if you don't know Andrew Spicer, he pre-records his bass lines and his drums and brings his guitar and about 7,000 guitar pedals, and he does a one-man band thing on stage. It's a really good show. Yeah.
He's somebody that I don't personally know. He knows a lot of people I know, but the first time I saw him was at the Art at Night a few years back in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And he was doing a little thing, and I could hear the music from like a block or two away.
Oh, so
I started walking towards the music. I'm like, oh, there's like a kind of grungy 90s type sound coming from over there. What's that? And I walk over, like, there's just some dude there by himself.
I made the mistake one time saying, do you need a hand carrying that? And I end up loading him with them, and he has a lot of heavy gear.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I imagine. But yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed any time I get a chance to see him live for sure.
So that brings us into March the next week. What's going on there?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, there was some stuff that was coming that was kind of moved around and postponed and everything. But the big thing at the beginning is that Music PEI has their music festival weekend. So anyone that's going to be in that Charlottetown area, there's probably half a dozen different events. I think the capacity is around 50 people maybe for those events.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a safe number. Like, as much as I say, like, I don't feel comfortable, like 50 people, I wouldn't mind being at a show like that if it was handy to me.
No, that'd be good.
I have been since COVID, and I will be in the future. So
Yeah.
that's a decent number. And if it's sold out, you can do some of the online stuff there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'll be checking out a little bit closer to the event, but it will happen in between our podcast episodes,
Yeah.
I believe, too. So keep an eye on social medias. If we decide to do anything special there, we'll post something for anyone that's interested.
Yeah.
And then that same weekend, Andre Petitpod's playing Belly Up Barbecue and Grill.
And this is with the full band. This is Andre Pip on the Giants, not just Andre on his own.
Yeah, so they're back this weekend playing at the Commune just to knock the cobwebs off and then give a real good blasting show again for everyone at the Belly Up. So you can get out there. Those are only like half hour away from each other. You could see Andre Petitpod probably every weekend if you really put the effort into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're always a good show.
Yeah, exactly. A heavier band, Jaded Truth. That's one that I came across when I was doing the bonus episode we had out last week, the Power Hour.
Yeah.
So that's a Spotify exclusive for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about. But if you head over to Spotify, you'll find it pretty quick. So Jaded Truth is playing their first show of 2022 at the Plan B Bar in St. John's, Newfoundland. And then March 5th, we've got Adam Baldwin's playing at Marigold in Truro.
And that's the one right down by Mingo's Music Sales, isn't it? Right across the road there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They've got that kind of, it's like the DeCoste Center kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a good little performance place. I'm sure that he'd have really good sound there.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I watched him and Matt Mays do a little acoustic set here at Glasgow Square in the inside, where they have it all closed down. And the sound's really good for stuff like that. I'm sure the Marigold sounds even better.
Oh, yeah. Marigold's a good spot.
Josh Bravener, somebody that I know, but I saw a performance there March 5th in Dartmouth at the New Scotland Brewing Company. Thought I'd mention that. Sarah Harmer would have been playing at this time frame, but those are those dates that got postponed to the fall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
we got a big one, May 19th, eh?
Yeah, that's
Propagandi's back.
That was crazy to see that, because we had interviewed Maddie and mentioned Cluttered quite a few times on this podcast and from jam sessions. And then on the Power Hour bonus episode that just came out, we had an interview with Ian Kane from The Bloody Hell.
Yeah.
And then within days, I see the announcement that Propagandi's coming and both those bands are opening.
Yeah, and I have a few friends that messaged me. They're like, "Are you going to Propaganda?" They're all excited to be there. So.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And I should say, it lists them as special guests. I've been saying openers all along, but I don't know if that matters to people. So it does say as special guests. It sounds even cooler.
Yeah, special guest does sound cooler. Maybe they're all playing at the same time.
All the bands on stage at the same time.
Yeah.
There's also listed the band Worst Part, which was not one I was familiar with, but I see that Maddie was also involved with that somewhat too. So that's a band I'll definitely be checking out beforehand. And depending on how things go out there with the COVID stuff, that's likely a show you and I are going to go to together, even though we have not discussed it.
Yeah, that's one I would like to go to for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that was a big concert announcement. So another person that I mentioned quite a bit too was Lisa Aaron, and she was doing those online streams with Garrett Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So they were putting those under Aaron Taylor and Friends. Yeah. So I'm noticing now that after doing all those live streams, that on their social media, they're doing a bunch of small shows. Okay. Under the banner of Aaron Taylor.
Perfect.
So if you're a fan of those guys, and he's from her band when she plays under her other name too. So
okay. Yeah.
They're a good time when I sat and watched their live stream. So I'm sure that their live shows are very similar. That's reflective.
Yeah, you mentioned that you really enjoyed it, so it should be a good show for especially a small crowd.
Yeah, it should be fun. That's one that I've caught with my daughter before as well too, and she enjoyed the couple that she saw. So something I'll definitely be keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
And there is a few more shows that are coming up, like the Carlton's reopen. There's a few big names coming down through there, and I saw a little bit after our next episode. The only reason I wanted to mention this, because we will talk about the upcoming shows in our next episode anyway. But Hawksley Workman and Sarah Sleen are playing at the Capitol Theatre in Moncton one night, and then like the next night they're playing in Fredericton at the Playhouse.
Yeah.
And the reason I mentioned those are big names. If you don't know who they are, I mean, it's forgivable. But if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably interested enough in these bands that you probably know who they are.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I was unaware that they were touring through here. And
yeah, I didn't know they were until you told me for the notes. So.
Yeah, just all of a sudden there's 2 shows right there in New Brunswick. Now, mind you, I haven't been to New Brunswick in over 2 years.
No.
But for anyone in New Brunswick, that's really exciting. And if I wanted to, I could probably go. I'm not sure what the restrictions are.
And Tara Spencer that we mentioned previously too.
Yes.
She was playing with Stuart Legier at the Carlton on March 10th as well.
Which she had just released that single with them back around the time that we did the interview with her too. So it was kind of cool to see that they're performing together.
Yeah, exactly. And
the big note one too is that the Stan Rogers Festival's at the end of March. So we'll go back and cover that a lot more, but that's another one that went hybrid.
Yeah.
They have like a 50-person cap on the performances that they're doing. So you can watch it online, but for that one, you do have to buy tickets for online. It's fairly cheap. So if you go online and check it out, it should be easy. When we do our next episode, we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
And I did see that there's other stuff that I have notes here for that we can get to on the future episode. But any Richard Coyne fans, I know that he had some tour dates that were postponed, and he was quite a busy man right up to that. So I did notice that he has new stuff coming up. Some of the tour dates are being rescheduled now. So that's something else to keep an eye out for. And my last big note for, I mean, you and I were both excited about the Propaganda announcement.
Yeah.
That, Sting is coming to the Scotiabank Center. So that's a huge deal too.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a big band. I saw Sting and the Police a few years ago in Montreal. So I personally probably have my fill for what I need, but he's touring off of his My Songs album, which is essentially like a greatest hits tour.
Yeah. And
so
you can go to that and you can watch him while he watches you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you've never seen him, phenomenal musician.
Oh yeah.
So there's no way that, especially like, it'd be one thing if it's a new album, you don't know the new songs. But this tour is going to be all his hits.
Oh yeah.
There's no way that that's not a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That's a safe bet if someone's looking to throw some money down for some tickets. That's a little further out. It's not happening until May, but it was just announced this week. The pre-sale started already, and I think the full sale for the tickets is later this week.
Yeah. And coming up later in the summer, the Pictou Lobster Carnival, we're going to find out the headliners. Yes. The headliner announcement comes out Wednesday when this podcast comes out. So once you're listening to this podcast, you might have heard already, but we're getting a little ahead of time scoop. We're not going to tell anyone until the podcast comes out. But we have our first guest coming up here. It is Glenn Jackson.
Hello, Glenn, and thank you for joining us here.
Thank you.
So the timing actually worked out perfect for us for recording this episode, that it'll be released just after your press release for the Lobster Carnival this year with your headliners.
Yes.
So what can you share with us about that?
Yeah, and that's it is perfect timing. On Wednesday, this should be all everywhere, which is when your podcast comes out, right? So this year's we're announcing the headliners first, like most of these festivals around the country do.
Yep.
Lobster Carnival is July 8th to the 10th this year, and we're gonna have 4 headliners this year, which is might be a first, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
On Friday night we're gonna have kind of a dance theme night, and the headliner for that night will be Classified.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're bringing Classified in, and
he's one of my neighbors now, kind of. So
there you go.
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
right outside Elmsdale now, so yeah,
There you go.
close by.
Yeah, and I think he's got a lot going on this year. He's doing an acoustic tour as well. But
Yeah, they just he just did like a kind of a reverse remix where they took all of his singles and re-recorded them with full bands with like Bria Isabel's on the new single. I don't know if she's on all the songs, but yeah, there's a lot of talent on that. That's really exciting that you guys got him.
yeah, I'm very excited about that. And Saturday, we are going to have back the Stanfields, and it's been a while since we've had them.
That'd be good. Yeah.
But Saturdays, more of a rock or maritime. I guess they're more like folk and roll. They like to call themselves.
Yeah.
So a lively 5-piece. Anyone who's seen the Stanfields know it's good time music.
And
at the beer tent.
the Lobster Carnival, is that going to be like the main stage? Is it all ages?
It's like a lot of these now. There's a fence down the middle, so there's the licensed side, but when you first walk in, you're in the all ages side.
Okay, no, that's great because Stanfields actually is somebody that my youngest daughter did get an opportunity to see live for a short period of time, and she hadn't seen a lot of live bands, so she was a big fan of the spectacle.
Yeah.
So she'd be excited to go again, but that's one of the problems that I saw with like Rock the Hub and the Jubilee is that they're 19 and up, and I have an 11 going on 12-year-old.
Well, the big thing about Lobster Carnival is this is about celebrating the end of lobster fishing season here, and it's meant to be a family event.
Like a community, family friendly.
We're a nonprofit. It's a community festival, and it's all about celebrating with your family. Of course, there's an extra incentive for those that can drink to go over and have some beers.
But. Sure, I've done it myself, and I'll do that again as well. But
and as a paramedic, I've been to the Lobster Carnival for a few drinkers.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, so that's those are the headlines for Friday and Saturday. And by the way, I think it's going to be a few more weeks, and we're going to be able to talk about the whole lineup. It's pretty well all set. A couple loose ends I'm tying up, but be happy to come back and talk more about the whole lineup and the whole.
Absolutely.
Where everything fits together, for sure. So
we have the two headliners for now.
So no, I got two more.
Oh, perfect.
So Sunday. We have, I threw in that segue in the middle of what I was talking about just to throw you off.
I was also in full suspense there.
It doesn't even sound possible that there's two more.
Yeah, no.
We just talked about a few of the festivals and events coming up, and this is sounding like one of the bigger events, and it's in my backyard.
Yeah, well, we're counting on what the trend seems to be going to full open. This summer, of course, things could change. We'll always be following the provincial mandates, whatever those might be at the time.
Yeah.
And you're an outdoor event.
We're an outdoor event.
Primarily.
Yeah. And that's another thing. We're outdoor under the tent again this year. So there is a tent for the bad weather situations in case there's rain or whatever, but it's an outdoor event. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And now without further ado, Sunday we're bringing back someone we had in 2019. A lot of this lineup is meant to make people think about how great things were before 2020.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we have Jimmy Rankin playing Sunday.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's going to be while the beer garden's still open as well. So Sunday's more about families anyways, but there is an opportunity for those who like to. Last time he was here, I think it was a Saturday we had him, and it was packed and a great time for everyone.
Well, it's a guaranteed sellout.
Yeah. Yeah, and in addition to Jimmy, we have we're closing out Sunday night with Dave Gunning. So Dave has not played for us probably in over a decade, long before I was part of this. So we're very excited to have Dave back, the hometown boy coming back, and he's got so much great music to pick from, and it's a nice way to wind down the event. And so I'm very excited about our 4 headliners. It's really
that's a phenomenal list. Like I mean obviously I'm usually there because it's like I said, it's just in my backyard, but that's I keep complaining about how far it is to travel to Halifax to go to shows and stuff when we're talking about these things, but this one's right there. I would travel to go to this one, and I don't have to.
Well, I have some more good news for you then, because the other thing is when you look as far as, again, going back to how we're a nonprofit, you look at we're going to be selling some advanced weekend passes coming up in March, so next month, is when we're planning to do that, and they are going to be $35 for the weekend.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
You'll save, and that's a savings of $10 if you paid day by day. So it's $15 a day, or there'll be a limited number of advanced weekend passes. So if in March when we do announce that, you'll want to grab yours if you want to save $10, and then you just basically people punt, like if you share it with your family or just yourself, use it for each of the 3 days, whatever you want to do there. But you get it punched when you go in and you get your bracelet. So
Awesome.
So I can buy the one ticket for the Jubilee and go by myself since my family can't come with me. But when I go to the Lobster Carnival, I have enough. The tickets are cheap enough. I can buy one for everybody.
Yeah.
that's what. Well, that's
Have
the
a good full family event.
it's supposed to be around family, so we try to keep the prices low, but at the same time we want to put on an exciting show for people. And a big part of what we do is fundraising and sponsorship, which we haven't been able to do the last few years. So we're going to get started as soon as things start to open up here in April or May. We hope we're going to do a few events leading up to, and also I should say for your listeners that we are always looking for volunteers. It's not a huge time commitment for the year round, but even if you don't want to be part of the committee on the weekend itself, we'll need volunteers, and it gives you a chance to get in and support the community event as well. So
Perfect. And yeah, let us know when there's stuff coming up, like when you're doing your fundraising and other event stuff. We'll be sure to promote it.
awesome, that would be great.
And where can people
Yeah,
find you guys online to reach out?
Yeah, so there's a way to message on the pictolobstercarnival.ca. So it's all one word. That's our website. At the bottom of that, it talks about get in touch. You can also, I mean, if it's someone you know, you can always give them my email, Darcy, and do it the old-fashioned way, just direct connect, and I'll get them in touch and involved to promote.
Perfect.
We just, I haven't met the person yet, but we have a new committee member who's going to be managing the volunteers for this year's event. So there'll be a bunch of different duties and jobs for those that want to help out on the weekend or get in to see some shows if they don't get their advanced weekend passes. So
Awesome.
they can help around the event. Yeah.
And Lobster Carnival is something for us that, like Darcy and I, growing up, it's always been part of our lives, and it's always been affordable for families to go. So we appreciate the work that you guys put into making that affordable and allowing people to see live music and enjoy those family things. I have memories from 8 years old with that place, right? So
yeah, and it's not just about the entertainment. I mean, that's what my focus is on the committee, but and your podcast is about music, so of course that's a good fit. But you know, everyone knows about the rides and the modified boat races and all these different events, fireworks. Yeah. All these things.
Yeah, I suppose anyone local knows that, like, that's where the fair is that week in the summer. But anyone that's not from here, it's a perfect weekend to come down. There's lots of camping areas, lots of inns and stuff around that you can find a place to stay, especially if you try now. If you wait till the summer, you might have a harder time finding accommodations.
Last minute, Darcy has a futon, so
yeah, you might want to find a family member that's close.
Yeah. I've got a pull-out couch, but I can only accommodate one more person.
Yeah.
Remind me, another part of why Lobster Carnival is so important is it helps our small businesses, and those inns and hotels and bed and breakfasts will be hoping to get some bookings from people
are
booking for the weekend, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them need it after all the COVID lockdowns and everyone being kind of scattered. There hasn't been many people out, and I know that I was kind of expecting you to come in and name some bands that I was aware of, but I wasn't expecting big names because of not having fundraising for 2 years.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you guys are hitting the ground running, so that's great. I think everybody should support it.
That's great.
Buy a ticket even if you're not going to go.
Yeah, sure. Do that, or give it to someone after you buy it. But that's the thing is, everyone needs it. We all need it for our mental health. The businesses need it. The community needs it. So it's hopefully a win-win for everyone. And it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm wishing you good ticket sales and nice weather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being on with us. And like we said, let us know about the updates. And anyone wants to find out information, go to pictolobstercarnival.ca. Check them out there. And I'm sure you're on Facebook and stuff as well.
Facebook's another great place. And we're going to have more information in the Advocate this week as well.
Okay.
This podcast comes out.
Oh, perfect. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Excellent.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back with just me and Darcy. And thanks again, Glenn, for being on with us and giving us that scoop on what's coming up this summer for Lobster Carnival. It looks pretty exciting.
Yes, and now that we're doing interviews like that too, if anybody else wants to come on, just reach out to us through social media or at East Coast DNA podcast at gmail.com and let us know and we'll work something out.
And if you're listening on a podcatcher, remember you can always go on YouTube, check it out too. We're putting video out there, and let us know what you think of the video. We're trying to figure out ways to lay it out to get guests in there, and we'll probably change it up. But learning new software and figuring it out is not easy all the time.
No, we've got lots of concepts and ideas. We already have another one lined up where it's more topical. We'll be trying a few different things. So anyone has any suggestions or requests, we're all ears.
Yeah.
And just before we met with Glenn when we were going over the shows, I'd mentioned that while we were recording, the commune was updating their social media with some upcoming shows.
Yeah. So peel behind the curtains. We checked we checked our phones between the interview and coming back in. It wasn't all seamless. So
yes, my break was a working break.
Yeah,
I didn't get to go have a coffee or drink water. Instead, I was reading announcements.
Exactly.
The one that I see here right now, March 12th, Saturday, March 12th at 9 p.m. Kim Harris will be coming here to Glasgow and playing at the commune with Lynn DeCoste.
Oh yeah, I've seen Lynn a few times. Lynn played at Backstage Brewing, which we mentioned before, and she was taking requests. She's just playing piano and singing. She goes, "Any requests from the crowd? I'll play anything you want." And I yelled out "November Rain," and she gave me the finger, and then she did it.
Oh,
yeah, she did half of it. She didn't do the whole 8 minutes of November Rain, but it was good.
Yeah, it's and similar to that, what I noticed with this second one, I don't know if this is a trend or a coincidence, but they have an established name from the city coming down to Glasgow and playing with a known local performer, which is something that people always say should happen and they complain when it doesn't, but you don't see often where it does right off the bat.
Yeah.
So the second one that I saw that falls into that same category is Keeper E, who
Recording
I constantly
stopped.
mention. And Carol Brown is playing with her, who is somebody that I'd also met from the Jam Sessions podcast.
Oh, okay, cool. We just had a little audio thing in our ears there. That's what my hand was doing on the screen if you're watching YouTube.
Yeah, is it still working?
Yeah, we're good. So if anyone does want to reach out to us, you can find us online. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok. If your kids want to check us out on there, we have an email, eastcoastdnapodcast@gmail.com. And our link tree, you can find us on Linktree. It's East Coast DNA, and the link to that is in our show notes on YouTube and on whatever podcatcher you're listening to. And as well as a link to our Discord if you want to get in the Discord. We're trying to start a little community there where there'll be upcoming shows. You can share your own music, your videos. And yeah.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know what Discord is too, I was aware of it, but I had no familiarity with using it. And when Andrew suggested it, I went in and my learning curve was like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
It might sound intimidating at first, but it's organized well. There's different groups. You can put things in the same group, and it's
not introducing a new social media platform that you have to keep up with daily. It's like a chat room that you can join in casually when you want, and you can see us when we're online and talk to us. I will sometimes, when I'm sitting here listening to music, I'll fire it open and you can actually see what I'm listening to and talk to me while I'm online.
Yeah.
It's some cool features. If we can build a little community there, it could be something really fun.
Yeah, so check us out there. And if you can't find us, check out the link tree and you'll find all our links in there. And our closing out song is We Should Have Been Plumbers. We mentioned it earlier. The song is called Sad and Lonely. And here you go. Have a good evening. Enjoy yourself. Share this with your friends, with your enemies, with your neighbors. Goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Waste your time.